Magandang araw mga kaibigan! Nandito kami para i-tour kayo at alamin natin kung anong meron sa lungsod ng Binondo. Nakapunta na ba kayo sa Binondo? Kung hindi pa, tara, samahan niyo ako. Libutin natin ang Binondo.
Binondo is an enclave in Manila primarily populated by ethnic Chinese living in the Philippines. Spanish officials forced the Chinese to convert into Catholicism, and if not, they'd be executed on October 3, 1603.
The United States of America and Great Britain have attacked from the air certain parts of the Philippines, thereby violating the territorial integrity of the Republic. I, Jose P. Laurel, President of the Republic of the Philippines, do hereby proclaim that a state of war exists between the Republic of the Philippines and the United States of America and Great Britain.
They would also enable America to block Japan's supply lines from Southeast Asia.
Ano nga ba ang meron sa Binondo? Binondo is a center of commerce and trade of Manila, where all type of business run by Filipino to Chinese tribe. Binondo in Manila is considered as the world's oldest Chinatown. Exploring the lively streets of Binondo will take you on a historical, cultural, and gastronomic adventure like no other. With the intensing smell of Filipino to Chinese dishes wafting through the streets and the Hokkien dialect still spoken in daily conversation, Manila's Chinatown is an enduring reminder of Chinese presence in the Philippines. Established in 1594 by Governor and Captain General of the Philippines, Luis Perez Dasmariñas, Binondo was intended as a permanent settlement for Chinese immigrants, particularly those who had converted to Catholicism and intermarried with indigenous Filipinos. The Spanish were distrustful of the Chinese, and Binondo was said to have been intentionally situated to put some distance between the Spanish elite and Sangles, an archaic and derogatory term for pure-blooded Chinese immigrants, but close enough to keep an eye on them amid fears of an imminent invasion from China. In the years that followed, Binondo became the first stop for Chinese immigrants who arrived in Manila in search of a new life. Even after over 20,000 Sangles were killed during the Sangle Revolution in 1603, which incidentally also claimed the life of Dasmariñas, Chinese merchants and tradesmen, mostly from the coastal province of Fujian in southeastern China, continued to flock there. By the late 19th century, Binondo had become the main center of business and finance of colonial Manila. Before World War II, Binondo was often referred to as the Wall Street of the Philippines. After the war, many businesses and financial institutions began shifting south to the city of Makati, which eventually replaced Binondo as Manila's central business district. Sa paglipas ng mga taon, ang kasaysayan ng Binondo ay naging mas espesyal pagdating sa mga hinahain nitong pagkain, sabay ng pag-unlad ng kultura at komersyo, gayon din ang populasyon nito. Libo-libong mga turista ang dumadayo rito taon-taon tuwing sasapit ang Chinese New Year. Maging ang kanilang Chinese foods dito ay patok sa ating mga Pilipino. Ngayon, sasamahan tayo ni Mika sa tour na ito.
Sa paglago ng populasyon dito sa Binondo, makikita natin ang pag-angat na ekonomiya rito. Simula pa lang noon, naging sentro na rin ito ng kalakaran ng mga Chino. Hanggang ngayon, buhay na buhay pa rin ang kasaysayan dito sa Binondo. Manila is the home to the oldest Chinatown in the world, Binondo, which was established in 1594. This is historically where the Spanish allowed converted Sangles to live. Sangles meaning Filipino wives and mixed-race descendants. This small town was already a hub of Chinese commerce before the Spanish arrived in the 16th century. Binondo was the first stop of the Chinese immigrants. who came to the country during 18th and early 9th centuries. Most of the Chinese immigrants were from Fujian province, who speaks Hokkien, a dialect spoken by the native Fujian. While Chinese merchants have been sailing the Philippines since the 10th century and traded with ceramics, silks, and beads for Philippine pearls, hemp fabrics, and even tortoise shells. Even with the arrival of Spaniards, the Philippine-Chinese trading did not stop. Chinese immigrants chose and stayed in Binondo, intermarried with Filipinos, had children, and eventually formed what is now known Chinoy or Chinong Filipino. Culture is the product of intertwining of Chinese, Filipino, and Spanish cultures, and this character differentiates Binondo from the Chinatown around the world. The Chinese-Filipino community is also known for their business drive. Therefore, Binondo appeared to be the country's premier trading center during the colonial era. You will see the remains in Binondo, the headquarters of country's biggest organization, Chinese-Filipino Businesses, the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, where also included some of the country's top industrialists, and it can be said it's a reflection of the Chinoy community contribution to the Philippines economy. Today, Makati City's Ayala Avenue and Pasig City's Ortigas Center are considered as the Philippines business districts. However, history points to Binondo as the country's first business hub. There have been efforts to revive Manila's Chinatown to give life to the commercial and tourism activity in Binondo. As the population and local economy continue to grow, modern infrastructure can be seen in Binondo, like malls, office buildings, and condominiums. But despite that it has retained its cultural and historical identity, it shows that Binondo can blend past with the present. Here is the chart that will show you the population of Binondo then and now. In the year 2000, the population of Binondo is 11,619. After 10 years, year 2010, it has reached 18,040. The year 2020, which reached the population of 20,491. It can be seen that as the time goes on, population of Binondo continues to increase.
Kilala ang Binondo sa mga Chinese food at delicacies dito sa lungsod ng Maynila. Kaya naman sasamahan tayo ni Will para alamin natin ngayon kung ano-anong sikat na kainan dito sa Binondo ang dinarayo ng mga turista.
Dito sa Binondo, sari-saring Pilipinas-Chinese restaurant at pagkain patok sa panlasa nating lahat. Tara, samahan niyo ako at alamin natin kung saan ito. Binondo is a haven for foodies and travelers wanting to experience its rich history and cultural heritage and delicious cuisines. One of the famous streets here is Ongping Street. It is known for cheap eats, gold, jewelries, lucky charms, herbal remedies, and alternative medicines. It was named after Roman Ongping, a Filipino-Chinese businessman and philanthropist who aided Filipino revolutionaries against Spanish and American colonial administration in the Philippines. The street of Ongping and its food to offer can narrate the flow of the Filipino-Chinese and its socio-cultural relevance in the modern time. 1/2 kilometer away from the famous Filipino-Chinese friendship arc, one can truly say Ongping Street indeed to the heart of Binondo. Or should I say, one of the most important arteriaries, the Plaza Complex. To give a visual description of Ongping Street, about 750 meters from Ronquillo Street up to the famous Minor Basilica of St. Lorenzo Ruiz is a strength of composed established from for trade, residential, parking, commerce, and more, especially Filipino-Chinese cuisine. The restaurants along Ongping Street are Wangki Chinese Fast Food, Hao Feng Food Shop, Mr. Uber Rice and Noodle House, President Grand Palace, The Great Buddha Cafe, Four Season Cuisine, Lola Fast Food and Beverages, New Eastern Garden Restaurant, Tian Wu Hot Pot Restaurant, Ongping Manyosa Restaurant, Kim Hyong Food Garden, Best State Food, Food House, and many more. One of the restaurants along Ongpin is Kwanki. It is a kinda like a Chinese fondue restaurant because its specialty is hot pot skewers, stick full of meat and vegetables made for dipping into the hot pots in the middle of the table. It's unusual but also kind of awesome, and the kitchen also does things like fried soft shell crab, bacon wrapped enoki mushroom, lab soup, pickled chicken feet, and fried bananas for dessert. Here are some famous restaurants where to eat in streets of Binondo. T Brothers, the New Ponghe Lumpia House, Waying Fast Food, Dongbei Dumplings, Sincerity Restaurant, Shanghai Fried Siopaw, Ying Ying Tea House, Lanzu Lamien, Cafe Mezzanine, Guangqi Fast Food, New Toho Food Center, and Quick Snack Fast Food. Let's go to our first stop in Waying Fast Food. It is located at 810 Benavides Street in Binondo. People say that this place is known for great recommendations, low price, prompt service, cleanliness, fast service, and great ambiance. What about their dishes? The popular ones here are beef mami, roasted duck, egg tart, pork siomai, soy chicken, and congee. The average cost for 2 people who eat here is 600. Next, Lazu Lamien is a hand-pulled noodle soup pulled in the wall restaurants along Benavides Street in Binondo, Manila. The restaurants mainly serves noodles with other options such as dumplings and fried rice. Their best sellers for noodle soup are spare ribs lamien and beef lamien, and it costs 140 pesos per serving. One of the famous restaurants at Binondo is the Toho Pansiteria Antigua, and it is one of the oldest Chinese restaurants. They are proudly claiming that their food delicacies still have the same taste for the last 2 decades. Likewise, it is also rumored that Jose Rizal ate at these restaurants. Unfortunately, the business closed last 2021 due to the unfavorable condition brought by the pandemic. However, the alert level decreases and Toho Pansiteria Antigua once again get up to their normal state of business. Founded back in 1967, Quick Snack is a quaint little restaurant located along Carvajal Street and known for its no-frills and straightforward Indonesian Chinese comfort food. Another mentioned business that features Chinese cuisines is the Dongbei Dumplings. It is claimed that this is the oldest dumpling restaurant in the country. Observing its physical view, its exterior seems to be simple for the eyes, not enough to attract customers, but they claim that their dumplings are a must-try. Their ingredients are imported from Northeast China. They use pure Chinese pork that has no tenders and it's not mixed with flour. Next, Sincerity Restaurant is located in Yuchenko's. Everybody loved the Sincerity chicken. It was completely full of enjoyable flavor, and with that, you no longer need any sauce for it. It had a mild hint of sweetness, and the other spices brought out a natural delicious taste. Sincerity Restaurant is a sure must-try for a Binondo food trip because of its unique chicken and the other dishes. The place and service may not be too appealing in this brand, but food definitely is not worth. Here the budget needed if you are going alone. You can go for a bento. The price ranges from 80 pesos to 160 pesos. If you are on the food trip and in a group of 6 or 7, you may need to spend 73 pesos. If you want rice to pair with, it just add 18 pesos for a total of 91 pesos. Lastly, there is also a restaurant that serves original siopaw since 1980, owned by Guangqi. According to history, siopaw was introduced by Chinese entrepreneurs when it came to the Philippines. Moreover, siopaw means hot bun. It also features a small and simple exterior view, yet serving a authentic and original siopaw. Unlike any other siopaw found in fast foods or convenience stores that are steamed, their product is fried only at the bottom of it, maintaining the softness of the upper part of siopaw, making it uniquely delicious. And that's all of the restaurant here in Binondo.
Sobrang dami palang kainan dyan sa Binondo, Will. Parang nakakagutom tuloy. Kitang-kita naman ng mga Chinese ang nagpalaganap ng mga pagkain ito. Gusto naman nating alamin ngayon kung anong mga sikat na struktura ang meron sa Binondo. May mga sikat bang mga lugar dito?
Pasyal namin kayo at ikukwento namin sa inyo ang kanilang history. The famous structure here in Binondo, Manila are the Don Lorenzo del Rosario House, Banco Espanyol Filipino, China Banking Corporation Building, Uy Chaco Building, Crystal Arcade and Juan Luna Building, and the Capitol Theater. The Don Lorenzo del Rosario House, also known as the Casa Byzantina. This structure was built in 1890. The house was designed by the Catalan architect Joan Josep Jose Hervas for its owner Don Lorenzo del Rosario. Before it became a house museum, it served as the pre-war site of the University of Manila. It was originally constructed along the Madrid Street but was entirely restored and relocated to a theme park in Bataan owned by Jose Acozar in 2009. Now, it is what we know as the Las Casas Filipinas de Acozar. And now, the Banco Espanyol Filipino, Plaza Cervantes. The birth site of the Banco Espanyol Filipinas de Isabel II, now Bank of the Philippine Islands, served as the hub of many banking institutions in pre-war Manila. The bank in history was the first ever bank established in Manila and entire Southeast Asia. Well, the next structure is the China Banking Corporation Building, and it's the first China Banking Corporation building served not just as the home of the now 100-year-old bank, but also as the original home of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. The old building is now undergoing a restoration process initiated by the bank. Uy Chaco Building, one of the first high-rise structures in Binondo. The 6-story building was completed in 1914 and it's still standing up to this day. It was constructed to house the hardware firm Uy Chaco and Sons, an old company that was importation and distribution of imported construction supplies, also located in the vicinity of Plaza Cervantes. Uy Chaco Building is now housing the Philtrust Bank. Crystal Arcade, designed by Andres Luna de San Pedro, an architect and son of Juan Luna, and completed in 1932. The structure is in history as the home of Old Manila Stock Exchange, the first bourse market in the country. During its heydays, Crystal Arcades was considered as avant-garde because of its interesting design. Juan Luna Building. What's now called the Juan Luna Building used to be known as the Pacific Commercial Company Building or the National City Bank Building. It was completed in 1922 from an edifice designed by Murphy, McGill, and Hamlin of New York and Shanghai. And lastly, the Capitol Theater. The Art Deco Theater, designed by the national artist Juan Nakpil, was completed in 1935 along Escolta Street. The old movie house is in history for being the first ever air-conditioned theater in the Philippines. Filipino-Chinese Friendship Arc. Upon entering Binondo, you will be greeted by the huge arc, which is considered as the world's largest Chinatown arc. The best time to visit is at late afternoon until night for you to see and enjoy the lights.
Here are some churches here in Binondo. Let's start with the main church. In that place, which is the Binondo Church, the Minor Basilica of San Lorenzo Ruiz, and Our Lady of Most Holy Rosary Parish in history, and it's considered as one of the oldest churches in the Philippines. It is also where the first Filipino saint, San Lorenzo Ruiz, served as sacristan. Popularly known as Binondo Church, the Minor Basilica, and National Shrine of San Lorenzo Ruiz, and it was established by Dominicans in 1596. And initially dedicated to Saint Gabriel the Archangel, who became Binondo's patron until the mid-19th century. It is also known as Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary Parish from the early 1700s up to the present. The current church is the sixth structure since 1596, as its previous buildings were either severely damaged or totally destroyed by earthquakes, fire, and armed conflict brought by foreign invaders from the past 4 centuries. The Binondo Church that we are familiar with was finished in 1985, after decades of rehabilitation since 1946. 2 years after it was ravaged by fire during the September 22, 1944 bombing of the downtown Manila. Toward a history of Chinese burial grounds in Manila during the Spanish colonial period, the study of the Chinese burial grounds in Manila provides a window to the world of the Chinese community and the Spanish colonial regime. In the first 2.5 centuries of Spanish rule, the Chinese were buried in church or temple grounds, demonstrating the prerogative of religious authorities over the lives of this colonial subject. In the 19th century, the rise of the Chinese population and new approaches to the public sanitation paved the way for the establishment of the extramural Chinese public cemetery. Due to difference with the Dominican priests, Binondo Church became a Filipino church and the Chinese tombstone were removed. Some broken pieces with visible Chinese inscription existed up to 1980s. Some pavements are remnants of dismantled Chinese tombs, hence the name of Piedra China. These Piedra China pavements were cemented over during the renovation of the church, and the valuable piece of Binondo history was regrettably lost.
Nakakamangha naman talaga ang kasaysayan. At grabe, ngayon ko lang nalaman na ang inaapakan sa simbahan ay may mga lapida pala. Meron pang isang espesyal dito sa Binondo. Kasama natin si Lawrence para alamin ito.
Isa ito sa inaabang selebrasyon dito sa Binondo. Ito ang Chinese New Year. Bakit nga ba masayang magdiwang ng Chinese New Year dito sa Binondo? Binondo is the best place to celebrate the Chinese New Year in Manila. Since the district is with high concentration of Filipino Chinese, Binondo is the best place in welcoming the transition of the year in the Chinese lunar calendar. See many rituals and traditions, enjoy the dragon and lion dances, and eat your heart out with so many food offerings along the streets of Binondo. The Lunar New Year in the Philippines is always marked by lion and dragon dances. In China, the dragon is seen to signify enormous power, auspiciousness, wisdom, and fertility. During the important events such as Chinese New Year, both the dragon and lion dances are performed, accompanied by raucous drum beats and cymbals. Red is considered the luckiest hue in Chinese culture. It is thought to bring good fortune. People, especially during the Chinese New Year, wear red from head to toe or surround themselves with red. This Filipino Chinese New Year tradition has been passed down to the generations, including to non-Chinese people. The mooncake is not just a food. It is a profound cultural tradition deep in Chinese people's hearts, symbolizing a spiritual feeling. At Mid-Autumn Festival, people eat mooncakes together with family or present mooncakes to relatives or friends to express love and best wishes. The Mid-Autumn Festival is a big day for overseas Chinese in the Philippines. When it arrives, Chinatown in Manila, the capital of Philippines, is filled with an exciting and bustling atmosphere. Various activities are held by the overseas Chinese to celebrate the festival, which lasts for 2 days. Tikoy is the most popular dessert in the Philippines during Chinese New Year. It is produced from sticky or glutinous rice flour, which is then combined with fat, water, and sugar. Every Filipino Lunar New Year, serving and eating tikoy is thought to be a sign of a higher year to come. Also, during the Chinese New Year in the Philippines, Filipinos prepare 12 different spherical fruits in the hopes of bringing them luck and riches.
Here are the environmental threats and other problems in Binondo. Overpopulated. Fast population growth and rampant urbanization represent some of the major population concerns in Binondo. The overcrowded represent their own challenges. Traffic and parking spaces. We all know Binondo has a lot of problem when it comes to traffic and parking spaces because a lot of tourists came here. Binondo's rapid growth was also disrupted. Heavy traffic due to the large volume of vehicles plying its streets made by commercial and business life in the district unbearable. Solid waste management. It remains a major challenge in Binondo. Improper waste disposal, inefficient waste collection, and lack of disposal facilities are the dominant concerns. The waste generated from various sources will continually lead to health hazards and serious environmental impacts such as ground, surface, water contamination, air pollution, and also may cause some diseases.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, ang lungsod na ito ng Binondo ay naging mas popular hindi lang sa pagkaing inihahain dito, mayaman din ito pagdating sa kasaysayan at kultura nito. Ito ang Binondo, Manila. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat.